Good morning. It is day 11 of my 30-day challenge that I've given to myself to do using my blood glucose meter as my fuel gauge, tracking it, sharing it on a video, one video per day for all 30 days. I've never done anything like this before, and I didn't realize the task I was taking on to myself, but I am figuring out how to finish it, and I've looked ahead at the remaining days, and what's on my schedule. And the whole point of starting this 30-day challenge, when I was at the airport leaving Texas to come to California for about 3 weeks, was to demonstrate that life does not have to be perfect and everything in sync for one to be able to make health improvements and healthy choices towards taking care of your body, taking care of the body, our body. I'm taking care of my body. I began this challenge the morning I was at DFW to take my flight here to LA, and I will be ending the challenge when I'm in Florida with one of our 4 adult children and her family. So out of the challenge, I think I'm only going to have about a week at home, and I'm not even sure if it's that. I'm going back to Texas in another 9 days, I think it is, and then I have some days at home, and then we're going to have, my husband and I are flying together for that trip. I came out here alone, but for that trip he will be flying with me, and it will be 4 nights in Florida. Along the way in this 30 days there are plenty of temptations, food mines, so to speak. And so I'm using this time of my challenge to see how I do away from home, and I believe it's possible still to make health improvements even while traveling and not in one's own environment. Yesterday, I reported that my weight was at 140.2, and I attributed that to the day prior to that being just a protein-focused day with no major sources of energy, which the 2 energy sources, or the 2 fuels that our body uses, are carbohydrates and fats. And so day before yesterday, I finally got Neely Indigo's protein crepes made, and then I used them to make a sweet dessert meal with strawberries and cottage cheese and some of the Trim Healthy Mama Creamy Dreamy plant protein mixture. I can't remember if I had any other stuff in them, but I used allulose as my sweetener. Anyway, all of that information is in day 10's video. No, sorry, it's in day 9's video, because it was yesterday, day 10, that I weighed myself, and my weight had made almost a 3-pound drop, because I guess of one protein-focused day. Now, we can't live that way. Doing a protein-focused day falls into line with the protein-sparing modified fast idea. I'll put a link in the description box to an interview between Brian Mole and Marty Kendall, talking about Brian's new book that is focused on using protein as a way to have fast weight loss. But he also says in there that it's not something you can do constantly. It's a tool for a purpose, for a little bit of time, and then you need to return to focusing on nutrition. So today, I am going to make sure that I get in some really good nutrition, because 2 days ago was solely a protein focused day, and then yesterday was I got up and I had a big breakfast that was also focusing on protein, but it did use fats for my fuels. And I didn't eat again after yesterday's big breakfast because I just wasn't hungry. Well, I did eat again. So, yeah, that was another point I was getting to. I didn't intend to eat again. Last night, when I took my granddaughter to a children's park and lagoon area, I tested my blood sugar when we got there. It was, late in the day, about 6:30 or so, and I hadn't been hungry all day. I still wasn't hungry then, but I was curious to know what my blood sugar was doing. It was sitting at 79, which is 4 points below my trigger value. My personal blood sugar trigger right now is 83, though it may change on the app in the next couple days. I'm not sure. So I was looking at my blood sugar and thinking, I'm not hungry, and my blood sugar, even though I'm below trigger, it's not, it hasn't fallen low. I don't need to be worried about it. I feel good. And really, that's the key thing about blood sugar. No matter your number, as long as you feel good, your number's just a number. Some people would be considered hypo at a 79, but those would be the people who normally have much higher blood sugars, and all of a sudden they've dipped down to 79 and they feel awful. That's not my case. I felt good, and so 79 is it's a very healthy blood sugar for me. Anyway, I was thinking, okay, great. I've had breakfast. I won't be eating for the remainder of the day. I'll get up today and I will start with another big breakfast and then maybe have lunch too. Well, when I got home, back here to my daughter's home, she had a surprise for me and the granddaughter. She had gotten bobo drinks, and I showed that on yesterday's video as I closed it out. So I'm not going to tell my daughter, no, I can't have that, or I don't want that. I was very appreciative. I know that she knows I like the bobo drinks, the bubble drinks. And so I just expressed appreciation, and I thoroughly enjoyed drinking the drink. I didn't look at my blood sugar afterwards. It didn't matter. What mattered was being appreciative of my daughter's offering. She was trying to do something nice for me because I had taken her child and given her more time to study. And thankfully, this morning is the test. So that will be behind all of us. It's affecting all of us. It'll be a relief to have the test behind. And all she has to do is pass. She doesn't have to get a great score. She just needs to pass. And hopefully she will. But if she doesn't, well, then maybe I'll be back again next year for her to try again. We'll see. So today, since I had 2 days previously, the day 9 that was a protein focused day, and day yesterday that again was protein focused, but I did have fats, and then I had that boba drink. Today it's going to be important that I have some really good nutrition, especially from leafy greens. I may make myself a greens drink, and throw in those strawberry tops that I used from when I cut up all those strawberries on day 9 for the strawberry crepe. So I may blend those strawberry tops into a green drink, and I'm probably going to have Nucci greens because my daughter bought a big box of spring mix, the spring salad mix, and that's perfect for using with Nucci greens. Maybe I'll show you my making of it, but I will have a link to Nucci greens in the description box. And I will also have a link in the description box to just a simple greens drink that I've made here before. Granddaughter's beginning to wake up. I have the baby monitor right here on the table in front of me so I can watch her and see when she truly is awake and alert and I need to go to her. I weighed myself before I came out here to start this day 10's video, and so I'll put things in perspective. My very first weight for day 1 of the challenge was 144.4. I have kind of gone up and, well, I've gone down and I've gone up and I've gone down again and I've gone up again. I think I've done that, which is normal. And yesterday's weight was a 3 pound, almost a 3 pound drop down to 140.2. And today, this morning, I weighed 140.6. And so I'm good with that. Actually, I'm very good with that because yesterday I did have fat for a fuel, and then I had that bobo drink, which I don't even want to know the ingredients for that. I'm sure. Well, it had pistachio ice cream in it. It had pistachio nuts that were kind of, I could chew the nuts. There were enough nuts in there. It had double bubbles in it, which was tapioca, and that's a lot of starch. So I'm not going to look up the ingredients. I'm not going to look up the ingredients. Nope. Oh, and yesterday when I took the granddaughter out to give mother some peace and quiet for studying, one of our little outings was to go to Whole Foods, because when I was here last year, I bought something from Whole Foods called a flourless chocolate torte. I think that's what it was. And that flourless chocolate torte has been on my mind. I even tried to make one when I got back to Texas. I tried a couple different recipes, and nothing came close to that thing that I bought from Whole Foods last year. And I didn't buy just one of them last year. I bought like 8 of them during my visits back and forth. So back in California, back to Whole Foods, back to the flourless chocolate torte. So I have 2 of those sitting in the fridge right now, and I think that that's going to actually be part of my breakfast. So about circadian rhythm, which I mentioned I think once or twice in the other videos that I've done so far, circadian rhythm works in your advantage if you eat earlier in the day rather than later in the day. There'll be a link to some information on circadian rhythm. So I will have that flourless chocolate torte in the early part of the day, and I will stop eating today by 2 o'clock at the latest, using the advantages, taking advantage of the circadian rhythm and how it works, because the later in the day that we eat, the slower our metabolic process is for digesting food. And I want to have all the advantage I can as I take advantage of being here for some food treats, like my daughter's boba tea that she gave me. And that was a late night thing, so that was a disadvantage. But I can do things to my advantage by having that flourless chocolate torte this morning and being done with it. But also, I will reference Jessie Inchauspé. She wrote a book called The Glucose Revolution. A podcast that I've listened to lots of podcasts that she's been on as she's promoted her work. And I will link the one that I like the most in the description box, and a link to her book, Glucose Revolution. And she talks about the order in which we eat our food. She promotes starting your meals with a veggie starter, and then having your protein and more veggies, and then having your carbohydrates if you're going to have them. And then if you're going to have dessert, save that to the very end, because you've laid a good foundation for the best advantage of your blood sugar response to that dessert or the carbohydrates by doing the veggie starter, then the protein, then more veggies, having lots of fiber, which will come from your veggies. So I will put information about Jessie Inchauspé in the description box, and I am paying attention to Jessie's teaching about food order. Order matters. Order matters in a lot of things. Food order of our conduct, order matters. I mentioned church a couple times in the videos. Well, when I became a new believer back in 1982, I came across a scripture that said, God is a God of order, not of chaos. And that's stuck with me all these years. Order matters. I'll try to leave my preaching there, to let it go at that. No, I'm not going to let it go at that. I'm going to say something short and sweet. Human beings, the human race, is all destined for hell just because of Adam and Eve and their choices. But God has made a way for us not to go to hell, and that is through Jesus Christ, the one and only way that we can come face to face before God and have Him welcome us, because He sees us through Jesus Christ, through Jesus being the perfect sacrifice. That all those animal sacrifices that the Jews were told to do, those were just pictures that an innocent's blood had to be spilled to pay for our inherited sin. So God doesn't send anybody to hell. We're just all born going to hell, and our only hope is Jesus. Okay, I'll stop there. Dietary hope. I found my dietary hope in understanding my glucose numbers, and I connect a saying back to my beliefs. Life is in the blood. I need to know what my blood numbers can teach me so that I can improve my life for as long as I have it here on earth. I want to live as long of a health span as God gives me lifespan, and I feel like I have a hope of doing that because of understanding my glucose numbers, and I credit Marty Kendall of OptimizingNutrition.com for that teaching. I'm very grateful that back in 2018, after searching for 2 years for answers of how am I going to keep this menopausal weight from overtaking me, and I fought menopausal gains up and down for 2 years, even with Trim Healthy Mama. And I found Marty's blog post that was titled, How to Use a Glucose Meter as Your Fuel Gauge. And I started using that teaching. I found that blog post because I found a little chart shared by somebody in Trim Healthy Mama, one of the Trim Healthy Mama Facebook groups. And she said that she used her glucose meter as her guide to eating, to timing her meals, instead of just using the 3 to 4 hours that Trim Healthy Mama tells you to, eat every 3 to 4 hours when you're awake to keep your metabolism in good, healthy working order. And, they separate fuels, choosing either fats or carbs. Trim Healthy Mama information will be linked in this video description box too. A fast start guide to that. The only thing I don't do is time my meals 3 to 4 hours. My timer for my meals is my glucose numbers, and I get that from my glucose meter. So this woman had posted in Trim Healthy Mama, and it was just a simple little chart. I think there were only three columns or four columns and 3 rows or something, and don't eat until you get to this ideal glucose number, and after you eat you shouldn't go above this glucose number. And I went searching for where that chart came from, and my search led me to Marty Kendall's article, How to Use a Glucose Meter as Your Fuel Gauge. So I started applying that principle. My first day to do it was December 5th, 2018, and I've done it ever since. I think there's only one day that I did not record my pre-meal glucose number. Some days I only record one number. I just wait until I'm hungry and I know I'm going to break fast, and I know I'm going to eat, and I write down the number just so I have it. But that's more than 3.5 years now. So anyway, that was working so well for me. The menopausal weight just started to slowly and effectively come off, and I began to have hope again that I was more in control of my weight, that I was in control of my weight. My weight wasn't controlling me. And I wanted to share that information, but I wanted to credit the right people for what I was sharing. And so Marty's name wasn't on the actual article I found. I'm not sure why, but Optimizing Nutrition was, and somehow I found Marty. And I wrote to him, and I think I had to write once or twice a private message and say, are you the one that wrote this article? It's really working for me. I want to tell people about it. I want to give you credit. And he wrote back and said, yes, I'm the one. And then I contacted him again and said, I'm sharing your information all over the place. And I guess around that time the pandemic was starting to happen, and I guess Marty was having more time on his hands at home because working from home for the pandemic. He's a civil engineer, and so he updated that blog post, and the end of the story is that he turned it into a program that people could do together. We started on Facebook, doing it together in private groups and encouraging each other along the way. And now he's moved off. I mean, he's still on Facebook, but he's moved his groups, the community that practices this together and does these 30-day challenges. He's moved it to a platform called Mighty Networks. And unlike some, he does not charge you to come onto that platform. And he doesn't just tease you with information on that platform. There's everything on there you could teach yourself how to do this. But you could also pay to participate in one of his 30-day challenges live with a group of people. And every Saturday of the 4-week 30-day challenges, he hosts a Facebook Live, so you can come on to that and ask live questions if you want, see the people in the group that you've seen their posts, and it's neat to be able to have a live experience too. I was just doing that live this past Saturday. Today is Monday. And so I'm ahead of the group because I'm on day 11 now, and they just started this past weekend. So I think today for them is day, let's see, they would have done, if you're in the States, your day 1 was Saturday, so Sunday, Monday. So they're on day 3 for their challenge right now. Anyway, I think that's enough introduction for this morning's video, and I will come back on the video. I will keep making segments to the video and thread them together for a whole day of you getting to see what I might choose to eat today, what I might choose to share about my day 11's experience, and then I end at the end of the day by wrapping it up and saying that's the end of day 11. Right now, Grand Girl is stirring around more in her bed, and it's time to go get her up and get her going for her day. No, I forgot. I need to take my morning fasting glucose and share that with you. So let me turn the camera around. Almost forgot that. I'll turn the camera around and show you what this morning's morning fasting glucose is. And I'm not sure what it's going to be because I ended my night last night at what, between 8 and 8:30. I was drinking that boba drink, basically a milkshake. Who knows what that milkshake did to my blood sugar overnight. All right, I've talked you through all this multiple times. We need 3 test strips. Put them down there. Close the cartridge. Sometimes it jams. Okay. And now get out the meter. Put that in the end of the phone. Allow Dario. Oh, I was having trouble with my Dario yesterday. So looks like I might be having trouble again. I want to go to my results and logbook. Okay, so those were some blood sugars yesterday. Let's see if... No, I think I'm going to have to restart this because it's not giving me the circle, and there's no reason to put... There's no use in putting a drop of blood on this test strip. All right, I'm going to restart the app. Okay, I had to uninstall and reload the app, and now I'm getting error messages on my strips. This is not making me happy. All right, we'll set those 3 aside. Let's pull out new ones. Not bother with any more until I get the right thing. Okay, so those 3, I wonder what's going on with them, but 2 more. 2 more. All right, let's put that down. All right, and do a finger stick. Oh, let's do it over here. Just a tiny drop of blood is all that's needed. Okay. And then I need to raise another drop of blood so it's ready. 77, nice. Lovely morning glucose. Yes, I am loving my Dario, even though it messed up this morning. Okay, right of you, okay, but not now. Okay, next drop. To confirm, I always like to have 3 digits, within 3 digits is my confirmation. 82, so we're not there. All right, even that would be a good morning glucose. 1 more. Little bit of blood here. All right. See what that says. Do I need a fourth? 79. Nope. Okay. Got a 77, a 79, and an 80 something. 82. And I can go up here in the menu to see my results of my logbook. 79, 82, 77 in reverse order. Okay, so now I'm going to go to my data-driven fasting app, and I'm going to enter my morning numbers. I could click on glucose, but I'll just go ahead and click on biomarkers and select my biometric from there because it's everything. I'm going to record my morning fasting glucose, waking, and I'm going to give myself all the credit, 77. Hit done, scroll up and hit the blue record button. Then I'm going to track again biomarkers, and I'm going to record my weight. And the value of my weight was 140.6 pounds. Hit the blue record button. Okay, and it has not changed my trigger. I'm still a trigger of 83. Let me refresh. Does that? Okay. So now, daily lesson. I'm taking a look at that. Protein requirements in fasting. That's the topic. I'm going to hit read more. Okay, I pre-read through the article so I would know what it's saying. It's not a very long article, but I think it's important that you hear it because it is about the topic of protein. So even if you never use data-driven fasting as your way of maintaining weight, this information about protein is important. So as shown in the chart below, this chart here, and this is a link that you could click on to go to the research article. Marty provides plenty of information for you to learn from. So starting over again, as shown in the chart below, from Quantitative Physiology of Human Starvation, Adaptations of Energy Expenditure, Macronutrient Metabolism and Body Composition, an article by Hall in 2012. In the early stages of extended fasting, your body will use approximately 400 calories of stored protein. That's 100 grams of stored protein. So you use that while you're fasting. Over this time, this decreases to 250 calories, 60 grams of protein. So while protein requirements do tend to decrease during extended fasting, the amount you still use is not insignificant. If you fast for a couple of days every week, you will need to make up for that protein across the week to prevent loss of lean muscle over the long term. When you refeed, your body will seek out food to replenish calories and nutrients, especially protein. If you do not prioritize protein when you refeed, your appetite will step in and ensure you consume enough calories to get the protein your body needs. In data-driven fasting, we recommend people track their weight and body fat levels to ensure that they are losing fat and not lean muscle mass over the long term. This is likely the main reason that losing the protein or the lean body mass. This is likely the reason that so many people find themselves losing and regaining the same weight when they attempt extended fasting without attention to food quality when they refeed. It can be challenging to get adequate protein over the long term without excess energy, taking in excess fat and carbs, when we gravitate to energy-dense food dense with carbs and fats, when we refeed after fasting for more extended periods. And here's the summation of what is recommended. from data-driven fasting. Our analysis suggests that 2 meals a day with an emphasis on protein at the first meal is ideal for long-term weight loss without losing lean mass. Regardless of how long you choose to fast, nutrient-focused refeeding, especially protein, the nutrient of protein, is critical to your long-term success. I've got to go, but I'll come back and I'll add some information on that topic of protein, lean muscle mass, and fat percentage of the body. So now I really am done for this morning segment. I was in the midst of showering and dressing when I remembered that not only did my daughter try to bless me with that bobo drink, the Asian bubble drink thing with the tapioca bubbles in it, which tasted wonderful and I did appreciate. But then I remembered that she also said she got breakfast bowls for me and for herself and for her daughter. And so I'm faced with this. And I am going to eat it. I'm going to eat it and be grateful for it and be grateful that my daughter wanted to bless me. But I said I wasn't going to try to figure out what was in that drink. Well, I am going back on my word because I thought I would like to know what last night's drink consisted of, calories-wise, protein-wise, whatever, the macros. And just to know what is going on here. So this dragon fruit bowl, I looked it up and it's got a base of the dragon fruit, strawberry, banana, mango, and pineapple. And then it has a topping of organic hemp granola, strawberry, blueberry, banana, and coconut flakes. And the calories on it, 553. I'm not a calorie counter. I'm just telling the calories for the sake of information here. The real telling thing would be there's no protein listed for this thing, for the nutrition facts. No protein listed whatsoever. Now I'm sure there's some protein in the organic hemp granola, and maybe a tiny bit from the coconut flakes, but the nutrition facts per serving have no protein listed at all, and the carbohydrate 113 grams. So while I was looking that up, I looked up the drink, and this would be the pistachio frap that she got for me. She got me the large, and the calories for that are listed at 624, which does not include the nutrition facts for the bubbles. She got me double bubbles because she knows I like those chewy bubbles. And again, no protein listed here, and total carbohydrate before bubbles would be 64 grams. So then I just did a general search for tapioca balls that are the bubbles. It says tapioca balls are edible, translucent spheres produced from tapioca, a starch extracted from the cassava root. and they're used as an ingredient in bubble tea. So now, and they're also most commonly referred to as boba or pearls. Now, for the nutrition facts, for what I probably had in my drink, that would be 544 calories, and that would be 135 carbohydrates, and 0.3 grams of protein. So, anyway, I'm sharing this as a way to say when you're a guest for someone else, when you're a guest in their home or you're a guest at their dinner table, they're paying, whatever, it's more important, I think, to be gracious, since it's a short-term thing, to be gracious and eat what you're served and be grateful. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. And you can return to your own pet diet and choices when you're back in your own environment. And for the most part, I can do what I want here. I can make the food that I want to eat. But when my daughter makes something as a love offering to me, I am going to appreciate that gesture and that love. And whatever about the contents of what I'm consuming, my body will deal with it. So I still am going to stick to eating early today. I can eat protein. I still have some of my protein crepes made up, so I will eat this boba breakfast bowl thing and enjoy it. And I will also have some protein, probably my strawberry protein crepes. Hey, I know what? I can put this as part of my filling for my protein crepes. That's what I can do. That perks me up a bit. I'll do that. So just be polite, be a good guest, be grateful for what you have. Don't grumble about what you don't have or a circumstance that you might not necessarily choose if you had it, couldn't make all the choices. Be grateful. I am dressed and more presentable now, fully done. And now I am ready to take my glucose and start eating for my first meal of the day, my only meal of the day. I don't know. We'll find out. But one of the things that I'm going to have is probably going to gross you out is I have a can of canned oysters. I already opened it and drained off the liquid. I'm going to have this with some Frank's buffalo wing sauce. That's how I like to eat them. And if I had some of my homemade sourdough crackers, I might eat them with that for crunch and just get another texture in there. Sometimes I use Wassa rye crackers, but why would I want to eat oysters? They're not necessarily my favorite food, but this little can right here has 25 grams of protein. My goal in a day is to get at least 100 grams of protein if I can. I probably should maybe shoot for 140 grams of protein because and the older I get, the more I want to get near 1 gram per pound of body weight. Now, another reason I want to eat oysters is because they are very high in copper. And I will put a link in the description box about the necessity of copper in our diet. It is a mineral that we cannot, our bodies do not make. We need to get it from our food. Some people will use supplements. I prefer to use real food if possible. And one of Marty's little hashtags is food first. So I'm fully in agreement with that goal. Now I pulled up on my phone an article about copper and why we would want to get copper in our diet. Okay, cooked oysters, which these canned oysters would be cooked, like steamed or smoked dishes, have an exceptionally high amount of copper at 4,800 micrograms per 100 gram serving. And this can is 145 grams drained. So I'm going to eat all of this. It means I'm getting more than the almost, 1.5 times the 4,800 micrograms of copper. And then this article from WebMD, excuse me, says 8 foods that are high in copper and why you need it, why you need copper. Copper is a naturally occurring element that's essential for many bodily functions. What else here? Copper is a mineral necessary for energy production, maintaining your blood vessels, supporting your, sorry about the dryer buzzer, and supporting your immune system. Copper is also available as a supplement, either on its own or included in multivitamins, though most people get enough through food. Well, I'm not sure how you would get enough through food, not based on the YouTube or podcasts that I'll be sharing in the link. There's a guy that sort of made copper his field of expertise. So I will share that with you in the description box. So it says further in this article, our bodies cannot produce copper independently, so we need to get the mineral from foods in our diet. And copper requirements increase with age, which I qualify. On average, adults should get 900 micrograms of the mineral every day. Now, it's interesting to me, copper is not listed as one of the things in the nutrition information here on the can. So it says I'm going to get 7 grams of fat for this can and 2 grams of carbs and 25 grams of protein. So I initially started eating oysters for the protein and to have a variety of protein sources in my diet. And then I heard this guy talk about copper as an essential nutrient and how it affects our body's ability to make good use of the other nutrients in our diet. So now I'm paying more attention to oysters, even though they're not my favorite food. So that's enough for this little clip. Now to take my glucose reading and see where I am compared to my trigger of 83. Actually, let's put it over here on the phone. Case, maybe it's easier to pick up than on a flat surface. I'll hold on to that one and get the meter out, go to the Dario app, put that, well, I'll wait for it to come up. Okay. All right. I'm going to need to stick my finger, drop of blood, pipette end. All right. Another drop of blood, so I use the same finger stick. 89. Glucose went up a little. Okay. Maybe my body had to tuck in and convert some stored glycogen back into glucose. 86. So, logbook, 86 and 89. I'll just stop there and go with the 86. Okay. Okay, now to enter that in the data-driven fasting app. So my trigger's staying at 83 right now. I'm going to track glucose at a value of 86 milligrams per deciliter. I typed 85, so I'm correcting it. Will you eat? Yes, and I am hungry. I'm at a 3. So now I record it, and it's going to tell me your blood glucose is just above your trigger. Only eat if you are really hungry, and if you do, prioritize nutrients and higher protein percentage. Well, that acai or dragon fruit bowl or whatever it is, that's going to blow that out of the water. But so be it. Close. I got the official word today that Marty and Alex, Marty's business partner, are letting people give the data-driven fasting app a free trial run. So, and they are not asking for a credit card for you to access that. So you won't get trapped into a subscription that you didn't mean to sign up for. It's very much like Plan to Eat, which is my favorite menu site. You can use the data-driven fasting app, I think, for 2 weeks. No credit card required to sign up to play around with it. And in my video, I hope I'm showing enough how the app works that you could use it for the 2 weeks and figure out your own glucose trigger. So anyway, the link to that trial will be in this video's description box for day 11 of my 30-day challenge. So this will be my veggie starter based upon Jesse and Chauspei's teaching, and then I'll follow it up with this protein. Now, this is really ugly and unappetizing, and that's exactly why I use the Frank's Red Hot for the buffalo wing sauce. So I just pour some of that over, and it covers a multitude of sins. Ugliness. Ugh. So that'll be a whole lot better appealing to sit down to in a minute as my appetizer for today's feast. And here is the feast that I get to enjoy. I'm going to have more of the strawberry protein pancakes, and this time I have all the berries in it. I've got raspberries in there, strawberries, blueberries, and blackberries. And then I've got cherries, not on top, but cherries on the side. I'm going to have that flourless chocolate cake that I said I went looking for at Whole Foods. And my daughter asked me to pick up a bottle of lavender kombucha for her, and so I picked one up for myself. So there you have it, today's feast. Oh, I did manage to choke down the oysters, and it is kind of choking down. I don't really enjoy them, but I ate them for my health and well-being and protein. I know this isn't pretty. I'm not showing it to you to show you something pretty. I'm showing something to you that is rather amazing to me. I don't want to finish it. It was wonderful. This was the flourless chocolate cake that I had been thinking about, sort of longing after the thing that I bought from Whole Foods yesterday. And I had it as my dessert for today's feast. And then I got to this point and it was like, well, it was wonderful and I really enjoyed it, but I'm not enjoying finishing it. I'm not interested. And so this is as far as I got. I have never not finished something like this. This is a whole new thing for me. And I'm not sure whether I'm even going to save it. Though I probably will, since I spent a pretty penny on it. So I can tuck it away in the fridge and tack it on to some other dessert with some other meal in the days ahead. Okay, I'm closing out day 11 of my 30-day challenge. And I will share a few thoughts as I end today's video. Let's see, I made some notes for myself and I thought I had them right here. Okay, I never got to making my healthy greens drink today with using up the strawberry tops, and I didn't have Nuchi greens. I just didn't feel like eating greens today. You saw the feast that I did have, and it was full and big, and basically I filled up because of the that dragon fruit bowl, breakfast bowl that my daughter graciously gave me, and then I had the oysters, and I trying to get in the veggie starter and the protein before I dug into the main part of my meal. My meal was also shy on vegetables. Just my whole day was shy on vegetables. And back to the greens. I don't know. I kept thinking about it and thinking, I know I should make it. And the thought of eating it for some reason just, I couldn't bring myself to do it. So maybe tomorrow I'll be open to it. What else do I? Oh, I did talk about protein in the video, and in the description box I have put some very helpful information about protein needs for being able to be healthy and have good lean muscle mass. And there was I know I have linked a YouTube talk between a researcher or doctor, and she was interviewed, and she gave many references for science studies that says the older we get, the more we need to make sure we have plenty of protein, percentage of protein in our diet. And that is one of the things that Marty teaches in his data-driven groups. I will be making sure that you have the link to a free data-driven fasting manual. And so I wanted to tell you about the phase in the 30-day challenge that I'm in right now compared to the group that just started on Saturday. So I opened up, I got myself a screenshot of the phases, and I have that right here. So they had just started hunger training today. Tuesday is their day 4. And hunger training is explained in the data-driven fasting manual. I, being on day 11 today, was my first day of, if I were brand new to this process, I would be learning about an eating window. And so then that makes me want to go to the data-driven fasting manual and tell you that in the table of contents, you can look down through, and there's a section for baselining and what that's all about, and then hunger training, what that's all about, and then the explanation of that third phase that I've just started today on day 11, that is compressing your eating window. Now, after 3.5 years, obviously, and one meal a day for the most part, my eating window is compressed. I have gone through times in the last 9 months where I was letting that window get wider and wider. I was also putting on, my weight was starting to creep up, and I was willing to allow that to happen because it didn't make me feel panicky. It didn't make me feel like my weight was going to be controlling me. I know full well how to control my weight now. And so I was having more fun playing around with all kinds of food than I was trying to keep my weight down to 136 or below, where I like that range of, say, 132 to 136. And so with this challenge, I am trying to be more disciplined and bring my weight back in line with that ideal weight range of 132 to 136. I'm interested to see what my weight will be tomorrow morning after today, after eating the last night, having that pistachio frap that my daughter gave me, and then today having the dragon fruit bowl, and then also wanting to eat that flourless chocolate tort cake thing that I couldn't finish. I could have finished it, but I just got to the point where I thought, I'm not reveling in this. I'm not enjoying this thoroughly. I would just be eating it for the sake of eating it, and I don't want to do that. I want to thoroughly enjoy my food. Now, the oysters, no, I didn't thoroughly enjoy them. They are part of a medicinal aspect of take good medical care of myself, making sure I get in good protein. I didn't mention that another reason I started eating oysters was for the omega-3s. So both the protein motivated me, the omega-3s, and now I know about copper, that oysters are really high in copper. I linked a couple articles or resources, I think 3 of them, about copper, so you could go to those and learn from those if you want. Let me look at my notes again and see what else I want to wrap this up with. So, update for the end of the video. I didn't do my greens, couldn't face them. There'll be a link for the DDF manual, which is free. And I want to remind you that now Marty and Alex are letting people have free access for 14 days to the data-driven fasting app. And there will be a link in the description box. Now think about this. I'm only on day 11. So if you have 14 days, you could do all the important things. As a matter of fact, let me go to look at the schedule. Okay, I'm going back to the photo of the schedule. So if you have the app for 14 days, that would take you through baselining, so you could learn what your own personal blood sugar trigger is, hunger training, so you could start practicing waiting until you feel hunger, testing and seeing what your glucose is when you get hunger pains. And it would take you, excuse me, it would take you into 1, 2, 3, 4 days of an eating window phase. And then as you're learning all that stuff, you can look at the free data-driven fasting manual, which you will always have access to if you want. Using the app, you won't have to give your credit card. You can just sign up, and at the end of the 14 days, it just disappears. So anyway, I think that's a very generous thing for the guys to do, and I see I'm losing my light here. I want to test my glucose now on the camera. I'm not going to turn the camera around. I'm just going to test it and tell you what it is for the sake of time, since I'm losing light. So I'm getting my phone and my Dario, and I'll quickly take a reading, because I want to see what my reading is after all that basically sugar and carbohydrates. So Dario, meter, and then I'll see what I have tomorrow morning. Boys, it got dark fast. I wish I had thought to turn on some lights out here, but I didn't intend to stay long. Just, wow, fast. Okay, get the blood going here. Okay, that's the first reading coming up. Okay, that says 98, and I don't know if I stuck myself. Yeah, I stuck myself well enough that I'm able to draw up another drop of blood. Let's record that number and get a new circle. Okay, place a drop of blood. It's almost so dark I can't see down here against my black backdrop of my dress. 99. So 90, what I had? Let's look at the logbook. 98, 99. Okay, so I'm going to call it a 98 as my glucose going to bed. And we'll see what it is tomorrow morning, how my body resolves all of this. I mean, it was a fun eating day, except for the oysters. I mean, they weren't horrible, but it's just not my favorite. I might have enjoyed them more if I'd had a crunchy kind of base to eat them with, like the Wassa rye crisps or my homemade sourdough crackers, which I have a video for, so I should remember to link that in here about, I make homemade sourdough crackers from sourdough discard. As a matter of fact, I hardly ever make sourdough bread. I just use my mixture that I keep going and alive for making the crackers, because sourdough, in the fermentation process, it eats, the yeast live off the sugar in it, so I can let my sourdough stuff rest on the counter or in the refrigerator, and sometimes a very long time, and it's just eating up the sugars, and so I get the benefit of the sourdough without all of as many carbohydrates, and it's definitely easier to digest. So there we go, the end of day 11 of my 30-day challenge, and that's a wrap.